Hello there. Welcome to today's Odoo webinar. My name is Zach Hernandez, and I'm a team lead here at Odoo. I represent the direct sales team here in our San Francisco office. Today, I'll be leading a webinar focused on exploring Odoo across industries and how we can help transform your business. The main goal of today's webinar is for you, the viewer, to have a firm understanding of Odoo's value proposition and see how Odoo can help address some of the challenges related to your specific industry. We'll have a brief agenda for today's webinar. First and foremost, we'll have an introduction into Odoo. Who are we as a company? A little bit about our history and company trajectory. From there, we'll move into three different use cases. The first use case is focused on wholesale retail distribution. The second is manufacturing, and the third is construction. And then after that, that will ultimately conclude today's webinar. So what is Odoo? It's the $1,000 question. Odoo is a suite of business applications that integrates your business operations into a comprehensive solution. So we do everything from CRM and sales management to the operational processes within your business, i.e. inventory tracking and procurement, manufacturing, as well as accounting. In addition, we have other suites focused on HR, website and e-commerce, as well as a full marketing suite. Here are some key figures and numbers related to Odoo's growth as a company. We were founded in 2005, and currently we have around 4,500 employees globally, and we're seeing 67% yearly growth and expanded to 175 different countries. Now, this is a key figure I want us to look at, this 12 million happy users. Odoo has experienced massive growth as far as our user base goes, and that's reflected here with this metric. In addition, we have over 7,000 partners globally that assist us in spreading the word of Odoo, in addition to assisting us in implementing the software worldwide. Now, Odoo's industry reach and success factors. I picked these three industries for today's webinar because simply they are the most common that we see when it comes to who is a Odoo customer. So currently we have around 5,000 accounts that work out of the wholesale retail distribution space. In addition, we have 2,500 manufacturing clients. And when I speak about manufacturing, I'm not just speaking about consumer goods. I'm speaking about food manufacturing, chemical manufacturing. There's a wide range of manufacturing clients that we service, and that's incorporated in this 2,500 client figure that I'm displaying on the left side here. And the final use case is construction. I know construction is quite nuanced, but we have over 1,200 construction clients currently. Now, what's the reason for our great success? It comes really down to these value propositions here. The first value proposition of integration. When I speak to clients, and I speak to clients weekly, daily, what I hear is a lot of clients are utilizing single-use software. So they use software A for this, software B for that, software C for that. With Odoo, our main value proposition is integration. So bringing all those single-use pieces of software into one comprehensive solution is the ultimate goal. Now, what does this bring? It brings efficiency. It brings a greater understanding of how your business is performing operationally, and it makes data less siloed. The second reason for our success is scalability. So we give you the ability to start small and expand out. So whether that's starting with just 2 to 3 users and starting with 2 to 3 applications and expanding outward, Odoo gives you the ability to scale as needed. That's why we are so popular amongst the SMB space, in addition to being popular with startups globally. The third value proposition, or the third reason for our success, is usability. So if you look at previous keynotes and if you look at previous interviews with our CEO, Fabian, usability was something that was one of our core founding principles. If you look at traditional ERP, a lot of traditional ERP software is focused specifically on mid-level financial management. We made an ERP that expands the user and their ability to do their day-to-day jobs. So usability through a clean UI UX is one of the core principles and value propositions of Odoo, and it's allowed for our expansion. And the fourth reason is affordability, right? We produced and made an affordable ERP solution. I'm not going to get into pricing on today's call. If you do have any questions related to pricing or any questions related to implementation, reach out to your business advisor. But affordability is one of the key factors and reasons that Odoo has been so successful. So now we'll move into our first use case, which is wholesale retail distribution. Now, here are some of the common challenges that our wholesale retail distribution consumers and customers face. The first being website e-commerce. So how do we tie the front end to the back end? Order management, procurement, and then ultimately logistics and warehouse management. I'm going to go through a brief demonstration from the perspective of an electronics distributor here and showcasing how we can tie the front end to the back end and go through a really simple order processing workflow. So let's dive into it. There we go. Perfect. So here is my Odoo database. Now, one thing I do want to mention at the top is I'm not going to be going into configuration or implementation. I'm going to talk specifically about process on today's webinar. Clicking into my app store, if you are struggling with getting started with Odoo, let's say you created a trial, you don't know which applications to download, I urge you to come into our app store and click on industries. By clicking into industries, we have some preset modules for specific types of companies, types of industries, types of verticals that may be directly correlated to your business. So once you click activate, let's say for construction, Odoo will pre-download applications for you, and that is a great place for you to get a head start within your database. Moving along here, I'm going to go back to my home screen, and I'm going to jump into the website. So I created this website probably in 20 to 30 minutes. With Odoo, we have a configurator tool that uses technology in which you answer questions related to what you're trying to do with your website and what your business does. And within a couple seconds, Odoo will make a website for you. And then you can edit it by using our building blocks here and create your website from scratch. Very simple, very sleek, very easy. Now, going into this, let's consider this to be a business to consumer online shop in which I come in, I have an account, I can see what we have as products within my e-commerce store. So again, we're taking the perspective of an electronics distributor. So in this example, this company sells and buys refurbished computers. And so me as the consumer, I come in and I see all the different products that I have here within my website. And let's go ahead and order 200 Chromebooks. Now I'm going to order these 200 Chromebooks at this $180 price with this specific style of Chromebook. And from here, I can add to my cart, or I can simply click buy now and check out. But I want to take you through the entire checkout process. So now that we have these 200 Chromebooks within our cart, we can now go through the ordering process. So I can click checkout here. My cart information is saved. I can select my specific delivery method. In addition, I have my billing and shipping information here. So if I click pay now, our order will be processed. With our partnerships with certain payment gateways and payment providers, we do have the ability to process credit card payments as well as ACH payments, wire transfers, etc. But I just created my order for this sales order 00081, and this has now been processed, and I can print it and go on my way from the consumer perspective. Now that we've placed our order, let's hop into the back end to see how we can handle this from an operational perspective. So going back into the main screen here, I can click on sales and see my order. So I ordered those 200 Chromebooks. I can see my shipping method here and what was created. I have it configured in this database where an invoice was automatically created upon the processing of a credit card payment. In addition, we have the delivery order for us to fulfill this to our customer. If I click on this little red graph here, this is going to show me my forecast. So currently I only have 100 on hand. I have 200 outgoing specific for this order. So my forecasted total is negative 100 units. I don't have enough units to fulfill this order. So what do we have to do? We have to buy these Chromebooks from our vendor for us to fulfill this order for our customer. So hopping out of sales, I'm going to hop into the purchase application and go through the procurement process of buying these Chromebooks. So hopping into the purchase application, I can see that I have this RFQ here. And an RFQ is really just a draft purchase order. It's a request for quotation. And so the process is create the RFQ, send the RFQ, and confirm the PO. I can send this RFQ to my vendor. And let me go ahead and add this test email here. And I can go ahead and send this RFQ to my vendor for them to process and confirm that they have these items in stock and that they can get it to me at this expected date. And everything is tracked here within our chatter. So you can see the chatter, you can track all communications either outward or inbound as well. The chatter is a very important tool as it's an audit trail into all communications related to this specific record. So let's go ahead and say that our vendor responded back. They have these Chromebooks in stock. We can go ahead and they can fulfill this order at our expected date. We can go ahead and confirm this order. Now, a receipt was generated for us to bring these 200 Chromebooks into stock. So rather than clicking through this smart button here, I'm going to take the perspective of our warehouse management team and go through what those processes look like from a logistics perspective. So clicking into my inventory application, I can see my different inventory operations. So what we are due to receive, what transfers do we have, and then what do we ultimately have to fulfill. By clicking into receipts, I can see that I have this receipt here that's expected to be due tomorrow. And I can see the demand. I can see the quantity in which we are receiving. If we were to adjust this to a quantity of 100, it would actually create a back order for us to bring in that 100 at a later time. But for the sake of this webinar, I'm just going to go ahead and validate this. And we have received these Chromebooks into stock. And if I look at my little forecaster report here, I can see that I now have enough on hand to fulfill that order. So going back to my inventory overview page, I can click on the 26 delivery orders that I need to process, and I can go down to the one in which we just placed with Mitchell Admin. I can see a demand of 200, a quantity of 200 for us to fulfill this order, and I can validate. And now we have brought the Chromebooks into stock, and we have shipped them out. So again, sort of summarizing what we went through. We placed the order on our e-commerce website. We then went through all the operational processes that we needed to, in which we cut a purchase order. We then brought that inventory into stock, and then we ultimately delivered to our end customer. So that completes our first workflow and our first use case. Let's go ahead and dive into use case number 2. Manufacturing. So manufacturing is one of our most common type of customer/industries that we service. Now, some common challenges that manufacturers face are order management. How do we place orders? How do we tie quality management to our MRP process? And then how do we ultimately tie that to inventory and warehouse management? So we're going to go through and identify and show how we can solve these challenges with a quick workflow in our Odoo database. So let's go ahead and go into use case number 2. Perfect. So back into our database here, I'm going to navigate over to our sales application, and we are going to place an order. And I'm taking the perspective of a furniture manufacturer within this specific use case. So we're doing furniture manufacturing, and we are going to go through the process of manufacturing Adirondack chairs. I just bought some Adirondack chairs, so I am looking forward to using those. And so that is going to be the use case for today. So I'm going to jump into the sales application, and I'm going to click on new, and I'm going to create a new order for us to process. Now, let's say we are selling this to Funky Furniture. We are going to sell our Adirondack chairs to a furniture wholesaler or retail company. So we have the invoice address, the delivery address, the expiration date, and now we can go ahead and add the product. And we're going to search for Adirondack chair. Now, I created a couple different attributes. So the attributes being wood quarter or wood type and color. And for this specific use case, let's say Funky Furniture wants 5 Adirondack chairs of our wood type oak and of the green color. So I'm going to confirm that. And this has been added to my order. Now, very similar to the RFQ process, I could send this out to the customer for them to review and sign this quotation. So let me go ahead and do that. I'm going to send this out to Funky Furniture, and Funky Furniture has access to a customer portal. So within this customer portal, Funky Furniture can see exactly what it is that they ordered, the quantity, the price, and they can elect to sign and pay for this. But I'm going to jump back into the quote, and let's just say we go ahead and we confirm this sales order. We confirm this quote into a sales order. Perfect. So now we have our final SO. Now, jumping out of the sales application, I'm going to go into the manufacturing application to show you what our production manager would see. So jumping into operations, manufacturing orders, here is my manufacturing order for me to create this Adirondack chair. So I can see here all the products that are going into producing this Adirondack chair, all my raw materials. I can see where it's being pulled from within inventory, how many we're consuming during this manufacturing process, what I have in stock, and the quantity that's due to be consumed. So going into the planning and planning our resources accordingly, if I hit this plan button here and go into planning and plan by production, I can see my manufacturing order. I can see the different work orders that I need to perform in order to produce this Adirondack chair. And so through this Gantt view, we can drag and drop and schedule out our work orders in accordance with our manufacturing order and what we have space for when it comes to scheduling out our production line. I'm going to leave it as is. Now that we have production planned, I'm going to jump out of the manufacturing application and head into our shop floor application. Our shop floor application is an extension of our manufacturing application, and it gives you the point of view of your production line. So what do our operators see when they need to produce something within our manufacturing floor? So clicking into shop floor, I can see my manufacturing order, and I can see I need to start the assembly process. So clicking on assembly, here is where I have my work order, and I can see my worksheet, so my instruction sheet on what I need to do to produce this Adirondack chair. I can then register that I'm producing 5, and I can go through all my different quality instructions to ensure that this Adirondack chair assembly meets our quality standards. So I'll go ahead and mark this as done. And it'll populate us to go into the cutting operation. So I'll just mark this that we prepared cutting and that we completed this cutting operation. And finally, we move into the painting. So this is our final step in terms of creating this Adirondack chair. So I can go ahead and I can take a picture and attach this picture to this quality check and then register that we consumed 5 liters of paint. So register our consumed material, and then I can mark this as done. And we have now completed the manufacturing process of this Adirondack chair. So I'm going to hop out of shop floor, go back into the manufacturing application just to show what we did. So here's the one that we completed. We completed 5 Adirondack chairs. We consumed this amount of material, and this is how long it took us to complete this manufacturing order. Once we produce this product, or these products, excuse me, there's certain reports that are also created, i.e. a traceability report. So we can see a breakdown of what went into producing this Adirondack chair, what time it was produced, etc. In addition, we can get a breakdown of cost. So we have this overview report, and we can see our manufacturing order cost versus our real cost, and get an absolute breakdown of total labor and cost of goods sold, in addition to WIP as well. So now this has been produced. What's there left to do? We have to go into the inventory application, and we have to process this delivery order for Funky Furniture. So here we have the 5 that we need to produce, or the 5 that we need to ship out to Funky Furniture from our warehouse stock location. We can validate it, and that completes our workflow. Awesome. So moving into our final workflow, which is construction. Now I get it. Construction is nuanced. Not every construction project's the same. There's a lot of variables that go into a construction company and a construction product, if you will, and a construction workflow. I'm going to keep today fairly simple. We're going to touch on bid management. So how do we submit bids and estimates for potential projects? How do we manage those projects? How do we then track profitability? How do we track time spent on those tasks? And then ultimately, how do we tie this to accounting and billing? So moving into our final use case here today, I'm going to jump back into our database, and I'm going to go through the bid process within our construction workflow here. So going into the sales app and creating a new estimate or quotation, they're synonymous. We are going to work on a municipality project with the city of San Francisco. And one feature that I enabled was quotation templates. What quotation templates allow you to do is, when you select this certain template, prearranged products, terms and conditions, notes, and sections will then be populated within the quote itself. So if I click construction project here, we can see that I have this construction project line item added to the quote. I then added these notes for what our anticipated labor costs will be. In addition, I added these different terms and conditions to this quote as well. And so I could save this. I can send this off to place a bid on the project. And I'm going to open up this PDF just to show you what it looks like. Here, I added this bid submission to our quotation as well, going through the entirety of our proposal, as well as what's included in the quote, the terms and conditions, etc. So with Odoo, you can really design these quotes and get very, very customizable within what you want to do and what you want to include in these quotations and these estimates. But now I'm going to go ahead and jump out of this and send this off to the city of San Francisco. And there's usually a lot of negotiation, right? We would track all that communication within the chatter. But for the sake of this example, let's go ahead and say that the city of San Francisco has accepted our bid. So I'm just going to confirm the sales order. Awesome. So we now have confirmed this bid. Everything is good to go, and it's a final order. Now, once I confirmed this, a couple things were created. We had a project that was created within our project application. We have milestones that were created. So we're going to assume that this is billed progressively. So progress billing, i.e. billed based on milestones. And we had a couple tasks that were created as well. So again, I'm going to hop out of the sales application and go into our projects app. So clicking into our projects application, we can see that we have this construction project here, and we have all the other projects that we would maybe be working on at the same time. But clicking into this project, I am going to click into it to show you the preset tasks that I have created. So coming into these preset tasks, I can see that we have permits, we have design, we have blueprints, we have order materials, we have foundation. These are all the different tasks that we have to complete for this specific construction project. Now from here, I can go ahead and I can schedule a future activity for myself. I could also prioritize these different tasks as well as to which ones need to be completed right away. In addition, I can click into the task and I can assign this to somebody. So let's say we want our foreman to be in charge of this permitting task. Our foreman can then come in here and enter in their time spent on this specific task. So let's say they met with the planning commission for, let's say 5 hours. And then the foreman can enter in another timesheet where they met with board and got approval. And this was 15 hours. Perfect. So the foreman met with the planning commission and then met with board and got approval. So now we can move this permit task through the different stages that we have, and we can ultimately mark this as complete. Now, going into the project itself to say that we completed this first milestone, we can go ahead and click into set status here, and we can go down and let's say that we completed milestone of design, permitting, and blueprinting. So we completed our first milestone. It's time to bill. So going back into our sales order, we can go ahead and create an invoice. And we can see that we delivered, or we processed one construction project. We've delivered 1/5 of it, but we haven't invoiced it yet. So coming back to the sales order, we can create the invoice, and we'll just keep it as a regular invoice. And we can go ahead and we can bill for this first 1/5 of this construction project for this total amount of $11,500. Awesome. So we finally got income. We finally got revenue. If we go back to this project updates page, we can finally see that we have revenue here, and we are starting to see profitability. Now let's go ahead and bill for some material. Let's go ahead and process some material from our purchase application. So heading back into purchase, I'm going to go ahead and create a PO for some cement, and let's say some paint, some green paint that we had in that Adirondack chair. So let's say we bought 100 liters of paint, we bought 100 liters of cement. And one thing that you should or always have enabled when you are utilizing the projects application in Odoo is analytic accounting. So we go ahead and we find that project 80. Now what analytic accounts allow us to do is they allow us to attach sub revenues and sub costs to specific projects, departments, etc. So rather than having this attached to the entirety of the entity, i.e. our construction company, it's going to be attached specifically to that project. So we're going to attach this to the same analytic account. And now we can go ahead and save this, confirm it, and let's go ahead and receive these products into stock. So validate that we received the cement and the green paint. And let's go ahead and create a bill. Oh, I gotta just add a bill date. Perfect. So now going into the project application, let's go ahead and get a closer breakdown of that by clicking on project updates. And, oh, not 80. Actually, let me do that one more time and adjust that analytic account. There we go. That's the one. And let me make sure that's adjusted on the vendor bill. I'm going to reset this to draft. Perfect. Confirm. Now this has been associated with our sales order 00083 project. So going back to the projects application, if I click into project updates, I can now see our cost for those purchase orders. So we see our amount invoiced, we see our amount billed so far for those POs. So we're not operating at a profit margin that we want to see. We need to keep going so that we can invoice for that next milestone. And so that's really a breakdown of construction and how that works within Odoo. And that really concludes the last use case. So moving back into our slide presentation here, we see the other industries that Odoo supports: food, hospitality, science and technology, transportation, logistics, education, real estate, and many, many more. I do want to leave you with this last little what our customers say with our customer testimonials, and I'll read it out loud to you right now. The other part of the value proposition is the efficiency. It's really appealing that in Odoo, we could have a solution for our CRM and sales side of the business and the operations side of the business with manufacturing and inventory and the accounting and purchasing. It's all integrated. And that's really what it's all about. Odoo, our main value proposition is to ensure that you are an integrated business. And our customers say it all the time. They really benefit from the fact that they have that view into their business and are fully integrated. And that concludes today's webinar. I do appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you have any questions or inquiries, my email is zahi@odoo.com. That's ZAHE@odoo.com. But really appreciate your time today, and have a great rest of your afternoon.